They'll be calling you a radical. Now, I'm going to go real slow in this video. And I'm going to talk Chernobyl, 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 Fukushima, Fukushima, Fukushima. As a lot of people don't know, they're new to this. I had my post-ignorance classroom. I went online long before Fukushima happened. And I got in an argument with a professor on retention and using the word fuck. And I'm an old professor. You know, they got blackballed. And so we went online, and my classrooms were literally hundreds of thousands here, this post-ignorance university. And those people, hundreds of thousands of people, they don't watch these videos anymore. Well, number one, I got kettled. They graduated. And we went to a graduate program. Then we went to a really postgraduate program. And these videos of mine got into the nuclearism at an extremely high level. So, you know, now that... And I want to say this because I always use the MIT, I use Tom Schultz in Boston. The analogy, including in front of the Enola Gay hangar, did those incredible videos. I didn't know that he was born on Fukushima Day. I had no idea till last night. You know, Peter Schultz stoop in San Diego, and I'm like, holy fuck, you can MIT, you know, because I go after MIT in a big way, I always have. So I had to break ranks. I was a pretty famous student professor. I graduated the #1 school business at Weber State University, which is MIT and Weber State are the head of the nuclear consortiums. I mean, Wattis is the war profiteer university. I had to break ranks. I had to get the hell out of there, you know, and it switched. Warren Buffett stole the school. We were the #1 school of business in the United States via the testing, including my score, highest ever given. And they go after the nuclear industry, so in the name of Fawn McKay Brody. So let's talk Chernobyl. And if you don't know who she is, you need to learn up. You need to learn up who she is. Putin killed her on Putin's birthday, murdered her. She was born in Brooklyn. I was there in those days. So let's talk Chernobyl. A lot of people, the documentary Chernobyl, which I love that documentary. I actually consulted on that. I didn't get shoot for it. I got some juice in a beanie, which got stoled. So, but there's several things that I disagree with in there. But, like it was bailed on the cheap and that was the problem. No. So, Chernobyl, when it happened, shortly thereafter, 3 years after that, I met this incredible woman from Ukraine in the Nevada test site. I used to protest a lot in the Nevada test because my father was nuked to death in the Nevada test site. And, you know, as I've been fighting cancer, in my classroom, it's going to give you leukemia, it's going to give you leukemia. I got leukemia. I wanted to do a bone marrow transplant 11/11, given no chance to live. I have AML de novo. That's a 1% shot. No chance to live. So the classroom was very compelling from the bone marrow transplant, whatever. Chernobyl. So I learned a lot more about Chernobyl than ever that. People don't know this. That at Chernobyl, it was a brand new reactor. It was a graphite core reactor, and it blew up. There was no spent fuel there because it was brand new. The whole city's grown up. They drained off the old grain belt to freaking Stalin's last crime. So, and I've talked to Gorbachev personally. People don't know there was more than one reactor there. One blew up. There wasn't any spent fuel there. So a ZIRC fire that we're worried about at Chernobyl, there is now. People don't realize there was more than one reactor. They didn't shut down the other reactors. Those reactors have been active the whole time. They've been produced. There's a lot of stuff. There's videos out there of U.S. companies in there. You know, I remember when the tornado hit Paducah, Kentucky on the MOX fuel facility, which is against law. MOX fuel is illegal here, so that's what they do. And it was full of Russian fuel. I mean, this whole thing, you know, as I call plutonium wars. So at Chernobyl, they've lost power. Well, in April of 1986, when it blew up, knock, knock, knock on Annika's door, her two brothers, her little brothers. 16 and 17, I believe they were. Let's go. You're called up. 750,000 men were called up in Ukraine and Russia. It was the old Soviet Union, remember then? And they went in there and entombed it. What an operation. At Fukushima, we did this. The U.S. runs Japan, Yalta by the Sea. So at Chernobyl, there is unbelievable amount of spent fuel. It has to be cooled. It has to be warm. They take electricity, a lot of electricity, because the dynamic on a nuclear reactor is not what it was 40 years ago, because they were never built to store spent fuel. Remember, it was going to go to Yucca Mountain. I've been fighting that for years. 2-whip, never happened. So they store it on site. The Big Z, I'm the guy that named that reactor the Big Z. There's a reason Putin took that first. Z's for that reactor. There's no doubt in my mind. Uranium-238 is not natural. Uranium-238 is a hex process that they use to take natural uranium-235. Oh, that's what they make nuclear bombs out of. So the ZIRC, Western Zirconium, is right behind my house, right here. They make the zirconium rods. We call them ZIRC fire. Has there ever been a ZIRC fire in the history of the world, a major ZIRC fire? Only once. Fukushima, Japan. The FOIA documents proved it. We did so much work and proved all that. So what's a ZIRC fire? Once they lose coolant or heating and they catch fire, they're invisible fires. And they melt together and everything of nuclear meltdown. So what was the answer for Fukushima? Major, gigantic ZIRC fires in all the fucking spent fuel pools. There was more spent fuel there probably in any place on Earth, including mixed oxide, which is against the law how they make bombs at Unit 3. Dump water on it and push it into the Pacific Ocean. They pushed the ZIRC fires into the Pacific Ocean. I wonder why the Pacific Ocean's died. And I do all the work in typos. Chernobyl, they lose power. Oh, just disconnected from the grid. This is the panty painter fucking media who's painted themselves into a black and yellow corner. I termed the term black and yellow media on the back of the cover-up of Fukushima. Now we have USA Today's using the term Fukushima. We had yesterday MSNBC use it for the first time in over 4,000 fucking days. Those black and yellow jerseys, the people that covered up Fukushima, which is the media, which is academia, which is professors, which is politicians, should be tried and put in prisons. This is the greatest crime in human history, the cover-up of Fukushima. So they lose power. He cuts power to Chernobyl. Oh, they just got backup generator. Oh, okay, I trust that. There's a war going on there. Hello. Not to mention the other 5 reactors, which got under attack in 2014. I was over there. I spent a lot of time in Vienna. So what happens if they lose coolant? They melt together. And how long does it take to get that out, that fire? Hundreds of thousands of years. You can't get it out. They put boron, the concrete mix. That was a 1 graphite core that blew up. They got at it. Remember those guys in the second that they did that? Those guys paid the price. I mean, you want to talk to people of Ukraine stood up? Well, it was the old Soviet Union. What happened to the Soviet Union? I was at the lecture. I was there in Vienna when Gorbachev said it for the first time. What took down the old USSR was the invasion of Afghanistan and Chernobyl. What took down the old USA? The black and yellow media who covered this up. The invasion of Afghanistan. The war criminals of Bush, Obama, Trump, just an accident. Biden, they've been killing children all over the world since 2020. And now Putin does it. Putin's a monster. And again, if you don't know who she is, you better look her up and get to work. I was in that part of the world, in the East, and we protested mightily. I'm standing in front of the White House in 2016 with this shirt on, my Russian hat for days. I helped run the peace vigil across there. I've been there for decades. With my Russian hat, and everybody's like, what the hell? And I got a sign that says, Trumpgrad, Clintongrad, Trumpgrad. Doesn't matter. The Russians have occupied the White House. I was calling Hillary Clinton and Trump Trojan horses. I already knew that Putin had stolen. We were talking. Everybody knew that Putin was probably going to steal this election, which he did, including Senate. He stole it, and we know that. And then this was a Trojan horse. So if they lose coolant and they go into ZIRC fire, that's every bit a nuclear meltdown. What happens in a nuclear meltdown? It starts to burn and release heavy metals. Plutonium is man-made, which I named it Fuktonium on Fukushima because it never happened before. We've never had ZIRC fires. We've never had full core meltdowns blowing into the Pacific Ocean. And then everything that's happened post, we're just going to chalk it up to coincidence. And all we've heard the whole time, tide pools collapse, Kevin Blanch walks. I got cancer. Well, I'm dying of cancer. My salmon work. There's the smoking gun. We count all the salmons. They've epically, acutely off a cliff, and we call those outliners in science. Mystified, baffled, stumped, perplexed, curious, people doesn't get it in science. Today is the 11th anniversary. It was the 10th here. I stood right there and I said, they're lying, these are full call. It took me a year and a half. I have the emails from Arnie Gunner's show on the comments on those original videos they did that he's arguing with me, calling it a hydrogen blast. Keldicott was arguing with me. I was in New York where there's pictures of her and I together. Fucking Chris Busby was fighting with me and arguing with me. Oh no, they all covered for them. The media covered for them. Everybody covered. These are not meltdowns, but you're full of shit. And I said, yes, they are. I knew that a Mach 1, Mach 2, because Weber State University, Utah Construction, build them. You know, my place right here, Utah Construction, merged with GE in 1975. The water's cursed. Weber State plays Montana today. Again, talk about ask Damian Lillard. It was this day Damian Lillard was ahead by fucking 23 points at halftime against Montana in the Big Sky Championship game and lost this exact Fukushima day the year before the meltdowns happened. The water's curse. You know, I'm in the belly of the beast. I'm a walking, talking encyclopedia, and a lot of people have graduated from this program. I mean, I've created hundreds of thousands of really sophisticated, intelligent, great anti-nukers out there. They don't have to watch my videos anymore, and I've been kettled. They graduated a long time ago. They understand. But unplugged, yeah, with a bomb. War zone. I've been calling it plutonium. I own the domain plutonium wars. By the way, I'm so desperate. I'm broke. I mean, their answer has been to attack me. They hired teams of trolls. It's all over the internet to fit. Why I made a bone marrow transplant with a central line hand. Mike Lee kicked me out of Medicaid when I was in critical condition. I got really whapped in 2016 again. You know, I had open heart surgery. You know, the whole thing. I've been clinging to life really for 10 years, for 11. You know, I came out of treatment just on the 26th this year, but I got kicked out of Medicaid. It financially destroyed me, physically, mentally, but I kept my classroom going, and it's been a compelling story. So at Chernobyl, has there ever been a ZIRC fires? Yeah, there were lots of them at Fukushima. Biggest ZIRC, I mean, what's their answer? They pushed them into the Pacific Ocean. They've continually pushed water on this for 4,020-something days? It's been their answer. And then you wonder why the Pacific Ocean's fucking died and everything that's happened, you know, in the last 10 years, you're going to shock. In science, kids, this is important. Science, mystified, baffled, fucking stumped, perplexed, bewildered is asymmetric to science. So academic professors say that that's fraud. They've defrauded you at universities because that's asymmetric to science. Science, first you hypothesize the knowledge, which Kevin Blanch did. There's a full-blown out, then you do the field work. I've done the field work that I've done. Then you defend your work.